Good morning, good morning, good morning. Here we are again. Morning Matters. Got to go live on the tick of the talks. Get that going up. And yeah, it is 9:25. Not 9:25 in the morning. It is 6:31 in the morning. And we are just trying to find, I redid my goals page. And I just want to make sure I pull up the correct one today. Nope, this is the wrong one, I think. Yes, I want to get the right one. But yeah, we are up and going. And we're going to remove that. We do this every morning just to get up in the right way, refocus ourselves on our goals. One of the things that I used to do when I would do my goals is I would set the goals. I'd sit down, I'd set the goals. We all know what takes to be a goal. It needs to be measurable or specific. It needs to have a timetable and it needs to be written down. So I would do those three things. But then what would happen is I would take the goals and I'd have them on my computer, or I would print them out, and then I just wouldn't look at them again. It was just like all right, I did that part, but then I wouldn't look at them again until like a couple of years later when I was doing goals again, or a couple of months later or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, there's my old goals, right? And this happens all the time to me. So the point of Morning Matters is when you decide to set your goals, I'm doing it for me, but the objective is for you to do it for you as well. I'm going to get my name off of there. And for you to, as well, to write your own goals, wake up every morning, maybe get something out of what I say. And then you go through your own goals, set your own day, get yourself mentally prepared, as opposed to just waking up in the morning and, going through your normal routine, whatever that is, or checking emails or checking your social medias and getting your morning, just literally starting your day without any focus, without any direction. And it's not that to say that you're going to have every day is going to go well, right? Like every day I do this, I go, man, I said I was going to do this and I didn't do it, or I was going to do that, or I was going to get focused on this. But also what I found, so you can look and say, start holding yourself accountable. You can say, I said I was going to do this today and I didn't. But you can also give yourself some credit, so you don't want to just beat yourself up, but it's like, hey, what did I get done yesterday? What did I get off my to-do list? What did I set some intentions for, and that I made happen, right? And so that is ultimately the goal here, is to wake up in the morning, get yourself focused, put yourself on the proper path, and go. And even if, so for example, yesterday, like I said, I set a goal. Actually, Mel, you know what? Before I even tell that story, why don't I just bring it up? Why don't we just go right into goals early this morning, and that way we can get to our video on time today. So let's bring up our image. Let's go. All right, here we go. Now we got the new. That's not it. Why am I keep bringing up the wrong? Why do I keep bringing up the wrong screenshot? Please, someone help me. I know it's early. I keep going, why isn't anybody on my, nobody likes me. They don't get on my Morning Matters. And I'm like, well, we're on the East Coast. I'm definitely not famous by any means, shape, or forms, right? Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. Got the goals up. All right. So I'm going to read them to you on TikTok. But again, the objective of every day is wake up in the morning. That makes me think of that. Is that Outcast? Wake up in the morning, get the yearning for herb, right? So I don't have the yearning for herb. I don't partake in the herb, but I like that song. So anyway, so wake up in the morning, set your intentions, get your goals, look at them, remind yourself of what you're doing, remind yourself of the life that you are planning for yourself, that you are being intentional and not just waking up every day and just going through the motions and doing things as opposed to being a human doing as opposed to a human being. And that's what we do every morning. So if you want to take this time for yourself and set your own goals, please do. Take out a pen and paper, write down some stuff. Again, make sure it's measurable, meaning you can. A goal is something that you could fail at. So you can't say stuff like, "I want to make a lot of money." It has to be, "I want to make $100,000 a year," or whatever your number is, whatever this week, next year, whatever. So that's the first thing. Can't be, "I want to lose weight." It has to be, "I want to lose X amount of pounds," or "I want to weigh this much." And so that's that. And then, so it has to be measurable. It has to have a timeline. It has to have a finish date. And then it has to, excuse me, it has to be written down. So now once you write down your goals, which we've done, then you have to make a plan, right? You have to have some kind of discipline or a plan that you're doing to get to the goals. And you want to stay committed to that plan. And it's hard, by the way, and that's why you need the daily reminders. That's why we do Morning Matters. I messed up. I already messed up. It's like you set these plans, there's the saying, we make plans and God laughs, right? And so the objective is you make your plan when you're feeling, then you hold it. Now I hear, as I'm literally saying this, I hear like David Goggins in my head and being like, just do it. Just be it. Don't be a bitch. Get on there. Just do the plan. Like stay. And for those of you out there who can do that, who are really motivated and are disciplined and say, okay, I'm going to do this, and then you just do it. Great. You probably do need this in the morning, but good for you. But there's a lot of us out there that, most people, when they set a plan, when they set a goal, they don't even try once. They're like, all right, that's it. Tomorrow, it's New Year's. I always talk about New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. It's like New Year's Day. They're like, okay, that's it. I'm going to start tomorrow. And then New Year's Eve, they go out and they wake up in the next day and they're like, I don't feel like going to the gym, right? I'll start on Monday, right? It's like January 3rd. And that's, that's what happens with a lot of people. It's hard. And so, the goal is the objective is not to beat yourself up about it, but the objective is to learn, find yourself a community, and that's going to motivate you. It's going to give you, it's going to hold you accountable. Like this podcast this morning, I got 0 people listening and 0 people on TikTok, but I dedicated myself to doing it. And it's funny because I wake up, it's like 5:30, gets like 6 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, I got to start. Let me start putting some things together for the podcast. On 6:30, I'm like, all right, I got to start. Let's go. And I don't care if there's no one listening. Maybe if someone's listening in the future to this, or no one's on the live, I don't care. I'm like, oh, I feel like accountable. And so that's whatever's going to hold you accountable to the things you need to do, then that's what you got to do, right? So when I make it, everyone's going to go back and watch these podcasts and go, oh, look at that. This guy had some points. All right. So hopefully you can read this. I'm going to pull it up bigger on my screen so I can go over it. So let me go through my goals. And again, you can sit and write yours while, or just go over yours while I go over mine. So decrease bad debt by $25,000. I didn't do anything for that yesterday. Buy $10,000 Tesla stock. Tesla stock took off again yesterday. It went up to 440. It was at 442 in the after hours. So I gotta get moving with getting the stock. Save $7,000. Raise my credit score 150 points. Health, get my A1C down to 6.5 or lower. Health, average blood sugar under 150. Get the weight down to 250 pounds or less. This is all, by the way, this is before I turn. If you're like, where's the timetable? This is all before I turn 50, which is in 1 year. Well, it's September 13th, 2026. Complete a half marathon. So that was my focus yesterday, by the way. So let me tell you this story. So complete a half marathon. I have this plan. I guess it's not really a plan. It's just so I said, look, am I really serious about running this half marathon? I really would like to do that before I get, now people will say you're never too old to do it, but I really like to do it before I have any problem with my knees or my back or any of that kind of stuff. Right. So I said, I was running every single day, but I'm like, I need a better plan. So let me pull that up real quick. So here's the plan. And I'm going to start on Monday, which is an off day, but I started this week. So yesterday I did 3 miles, but then I got to talk and I got on a Stereo app and I was live and I ended up running the 3 miles. And then I started doing a Tesla talk like halfway through, and a bunch of people, I don't know if anyone's listened to the Stereo app, but it's pretty cool. You download this, people talking. It's like a podcast type of thing. And so I was talking on the app and then some people jumped on there and we were just talking and I ended up jogging 3.25 miles. And then I ended up walking for another 1.5 miles on top of that. So I did a little overboard yesterday. And so today, this morning, I got to run 3 miles again. So I will be doing that. It says there on Thursday. So I'm just going to be following this. Monday and Friday, I'm off for the running, and then this is going to increase, but this will start on Monday officially, even though I'm doing it this week. All right. Enough of that. Let's go back to the goals. So complete a half marathon, bench press 315, squat 225 for 10. So I did not go to the gym yesterday. So this whole thing, I've basically just spent the time making my plans. All right. So here's the disciplines, weekly budget video. You know what? I have a new discipline. New discipline plan. What am I going to call it? Plan out morning matters at 6 a.m. There we go. So I wake up at 5:30, but then like I don't really, I come over here. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get here just before 6:30 starts to start the morning matters. But you know what? I'm going to sit down at 6 o'clock is when I got to start sitting down, work out my goals, put my tracker together, do my to-do list, and before I jump on this microphone. So that is, you guys couldn't see me type that in, but it'll be on here next week. So anyway, financial weekly budget video, which I will do on Friday. Work daily on getting my income to $112,000. That's how much I need to make in the next year to hit all my financial goals. Daily morning matters, which I'm doing right now. This matters Monday, Friday, and Saturday. So I'm going to start doing a podcast called This Matters. I'm Matt, by the way. And during This Matters, I'm going to be talking about subjects like the future. I'm going to be talking about Tesla. I'm going to be talking about Tesla stock. I'm going to be talking about what's going on in the world as far as like, I don't like to say politics because literally when I say I'm going to talk about politics, people like turned off immediately. Like, oh, politics. I don't want to, right? But when I talk about politics, I want to talk about, when I talk about politics, I don't mean like I'm going to be the far right person. Like it's funny, like the people on the extremes, the people who get the attention, which is sad. We need to stop giving so much power to the extremes, right? To the far left and the far right, or the extremes of anything. Like the people who are on the extremes are the people that we go, holy mackerel, look at this crazy, Giants fan with their shirt off and his head painted or whatever. Like, of course, when people go to the extremes, we give them attention. We're like, wow, look at that person who's so out there. But when it comes to like discussions, when it comes to rationality, when it comes to advancing as a civilization, the extremes, the people on the extreme who we need to have an extreme moderate. We need to listen to reason and rationale in order to come up with the best decisions to move us forward as a group, right? As a civilization, as a species, right? We can't be focused on how come like letting our being on the red team or the blue team. One of the things I'm going into this matters right now, but this just popped in my head. Like one of the things I used to say all the time when I would go, it's funny, like when we were in high school, everyone has their little clique, right? It's like, oh, I'm on the football team, or I'm in the theater team, or the theater's not a team, right? But I'm in theater, I'm in band, I'm I'm the cool kids, I'm the nerds, I'm the this, and we all have our little cliques, right? But then when the high school goes against another high school, then it's like, well, we're XYZ high school versus ABC high school, and we're a team and they're a team, right? But then if it's like the county championships or the county or something county competition, everyone's like, yeah, let's go, Suffolk County versus Nassau County, right? And then it's like the states, it's like, oh, New York is better than New Jersey is better than Connecticut, then everyone's like, so we just always latch on to a group, right? We just latch on to the group, and then it's like our group is better, even though I might, as the cool kid, I might hate the theater kid, but hey, our school's going against other schools, so we're on the same team, right? And we are social beings. Our brains evolve this way. We're not we're not the fastest animal. We don't have claws. We don't have, crazy strength. We don't have any of that stuff. So how did we survive as a species? And we survived, people say because of our brain. No, we survived because of social groups, because we looked at our tribe, right? We said, okay, we need to protect each other. And then this is sometimes I hear people say, where do our morals come from? Our morals came from the fact that we need to protect each other, right? We need to protect each other. And so we do better. One of the biggest, I'm doing a whole This Matters right now. Sorry, I'm rambling, but I got it. It's in my head. But one of the biggest, one of the worst tortures you could do to someone is solitary confinement, right? It's like you put people away from other people. You don't let them talk. You don't let them, like, that's a part of our I want to say our DNA, but that's what we need to survive. And so we need other people. And so, because we rely on other people, and this is, again, where did our morals come from? Our morals, we should not kill, right? Murder is really bad, right? But we don't really believe that, do we? Right? So I had a yellow jacket in my room yesterday. I killed it without thinking anything about it. Murdered the yellow jacket, right? Right, but we don't care about murdering other things, just humans, right? It only applies to humans. Kinda, as long as they didn't do like a criminal activity, then it's okay. Then murders are, but as long as they're not a part of our, if they attack us, then it's okay. 9/11, we killed 600,000, Iraqi people, right? After that, yeah, that's not, they had weapons of mass destruction. We had to do that, right? So like this whole, but why don't people not care about that? Because not part of our tribe, right? So the point, but this is where our morals came. We can't murder, but what we mean by we can't murder is we can't murder people in our tribe, right? You can't murder the people that are closest to us because we need them to survive, right? Lying. What's the big deal about lying? We don't care about it. We tell kids that Santa Claus exists, right? It's like, well, that's a fun lie, right? We lie. Oh, do I look fat in this dress? No, but that's a little white lie. That's that's protecting someone's feelings. Then lying's okay. But why do we not like lying? Because we need to be able to trust the people in our tribe to protect us. If we can't believe everyone in our tribe, then I can't think I can't trust that you're going to be there to protect me, and you can't be there to trust that I'm going to protect you. So therefore, we're not going to survive, right? So these things. These morals that we have. I have no idea why I'm on this whole side mission here, but the point being is we need each other, right? We need each other to grow. We need each other to do better, and it's in our DNA that that we care about each other, right? So, or at least for our own protection, even at a low level, it's like, well, I need to have a society where, I'm not going to go out and hunt and find water and do all this stuff. So we need a society with order and laws. Oh, right. That was the whole point of where I got to. So we can't have the extremes. So the extreme people are just way out there. And this is why we can't be extreme right or extreme left. We need to have a consistent consensus of rules. And like I always say, your values come first. Like it shouldn't be like your team comes first. It should be your values come first. Now, it's weird because that always comes into play when you're talking about your team, so for example, if your wife or your girlfriend as a man gets into an altercation with somebody else, somebody's yelling at her. Now she might have even started it, she might be in the wrong, right? But we're there to protect. It's our tribe. That's our woman, right? So even if she's in the wrong, we protect her. Now maybe later on we go and talk to her later on. When I played football, if one of my teammates might have been, a jerk and kicked someone or stepped on someone with their cleat when they were down or whatever, and maybe they were in the wrong, that person came, jumped up and attacked them in retaliation. But I'm wearing the red jersey. You're wearing the orange jersey. I'm protecting my teammate, even if they are wrong. So that conflict always comes into place, right? And I always said that if we wanted humanity to come together, right? If we wanted to end, world wars, and we wanted peace and humanity, I said, you know what we need? We need a good alien invasion, because then it could be us versus someone else. It would be the humans versus the aliens, right? So whenever there's not confrontation, everyone breaks down into smaller and smaller tribes. Like when 9/11 happened, I remember there was no right or left. Nobody cared. It was all like, we are America, right? But now we haven't had any kind of major attack on our country, as a whole, right? So now now we have to break down further. It's like, okay, now it's the left versus the right. We're gonna and really and that's we're so divided right now because we're so protecting our team as opposed to protecting our values. And what I mean by that is, if your value is, I don't know, whatever it is, if your value is, freedom of speech, right? Let's just pretend, or that's what we're talking about. Well, then you can't say, well, freedom of speech is important when my team is protecting it, but for you say something I don't like, now I want you canceled. I want your freedom of speech taken away. No, it don't work that way, right? If you're like, we want the economy to get better and we want some fiscal responsibility, and you're like, oh, the Democrats, they don't vote for this particular bill that's going to help the economy, and then the Democrats put up a bill that's going to help the economy, and all the Republicans vote against. You're like, well, that bill wasn't that good, blah blah blah. Like, you can't be that way. You have to say, this is what we want first, and then you have to hold your own team accountable to it. I almost say we should make a rule where I have friends on both sides, because I don't, and I have a lot of enemies on both sides, or people don't agree with me on both sides. And it's funny because I see them like post and post and post and post and post, and I was like, it's like, geez. But it's all about the other side and how bad the other side is, right? We should make a rule that you're not allowed, if you're a liberal, you can't criticize the conservatives, right? You can only criticize liberals, right? You can only say what your team is doing wrong. And if you're conservative, same thing. You can only say what your team is doing wrong and make them better, right? And if each side just held their own leaders accountable to the morals of their whatever morals that they have, everybody would do a lot better. We'd all do a lot better. But that's not what happens. Everyone just wants to point at the other team, like they're this. And it's funny because both sides want the same thing. They just want, like, and And I know if you talk to anyone on either side, they'd be like, no, they're, all the words, they're racist, they're fascist, they're socialist, they're, animals, they're blah, 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 right? Just anything but human, right? As long as they're not humans, none of them is humans. Like everyone, is, what am I doing? I'm doing a whole This Matters podcast. By the way, if you want to see the This Matters podcast, this is what I'm going to be doing. It's not supposed to be Morning Matters. But anyway, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to stop. We get the point. All right, right? Back to goals. And oh my goodness, it's 6:56. I just went on a complete side rant. All right, let me just finish up the goals and then we can get out of here and we can start our day. If you want to hear more stuff like that, so I will be doing, that's why I brought this up in the first place. So This Matters podcast, I'll be talking about different topics to help humanity, right? That's why it's This Matters. I'm Matt, by the way. I'll be doing that Monday, Friday, and Saturday. It'll be Monday night at 9, Friday night at 9, and Saturday, I haven't come up with a time yet, but stay tuned. I'll let you know. And then Sunday, I do Cosmic Matters, where we talk about space and philosophy and what's going on in this universe. We talk about the big picture as opposed to the small picture, which is what we talk about in This Matter. So I'll be doing that on Sundays, 10 to 12. I'll say 10 to 11:30. I'm trying to cut down being 2 hours long and stick everything to an hour and a half. So yeah, so that's and then I'm going to be building my brand. I got some merch that I'm working on and building for all these different things. So if you want to check that stuff out, it's Philosophy Man 76 on TikTok, Philosophy Man 76 on Patreon. Oh no, actually it's the This Matters podcast on Patreon, and it's Philosophy 76 on YouTube. Okay, and then health, exercise every day. That's what I'm doing. Follow the half marathon running schedule. So the half marathon running schedule actually has me running. I just pulled it up a little while ago, but it has me running every day. So that's for Monday and Friday. And then on Monday and Friday is when I'm doing the gym. So you see it says gym minimum 3 days a week. Monday I'm doing chest and, what does it say? Chest and back. Wednesday is my tough day. That's when I have to run, and the only day I have to run and do weights. So it's shoulders and arms on Wednesday, along with the midweek run. And then Friday, I'm off from running on the schedule, and I'm going to do legs that day. So work on the squatty squats. And then I run on Saturday and Sunday. So there's running every day, or there's exercise every day. Gyms fit in. And then 2 24-hour fasts. I find with the fasting, I'll wrap up on this. I find with the fasting, for those of you who want to start doing intermittent fasting or fasting. So what I've got to get to, what I'm doing is working on, because it's like the more you exercise, the more you work out, like the hungrier I get. And it's tough. It's really hard to fast and exercise at the same time. So I'm working on it. The willpower is not where it needs to be, but I'm working on it. So the way I do the 24-hour fast, by the way, is I just do like you don't try to willpower yourself through an entire day. I did that at first one time when I first started doing it. I was doing like the 16-8 intermittent fasting. Like, I was eating from like 2 to 10 p.m. or 1 to, I think it was like 1 to 9, and I would stop at 9 o'clock. And I would do that, and then I trimmed that down to the 18-6. I shoot the eating window down to 6 hours, and then I just said, you know what, let me do this. I watched this video about this guy who was diabetic and how he kind of reversed it doing these 24-hour fasts. And I was like, okay, let me do it. Let me try it. Let me try the 24 hours. And so what I did is, I remember very clearly this. I remember it was like a Sunday night, and I was like, all right, I'm going to stop eating. It was like 10 o'clock. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to stop eating now. And, sorry to yell in your ear. Oh my goodness, I have a whole bunch of comments. Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I just realized you guys were in here commenting, and I didn't have my comments up. Well, thank you for being here. So Tribalism. Oh man. Well, thank you guys. So I'll read through those all later. Sorry about that. It was 15. I'm like, just looked up. I was like, what is this 15 for? Oh, I don't have the comments up. But what was I talking about? Fasting. So I was doing the 16. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do 24 hours. So Sunday night, I was like, all right, 10 o'clock, done eating, not gonna eat again. So I'm not gonna eat all day on Monday. And so I got up on Monday morning, did whatever I was doing. I don't think I exercised or anything. I was just like, I'm just going to try to, get through this whole day without eating any calories, drinking water and whatnot. And I got through it, but it was so tough. Like I was like, oh my God. By the time nighttime came around, because I'm a nighttime eater, I was like, oh, I was just like went to sleep. I think I went to sleep at like 6 o'clock. I was like, I'm just so tough. And then I woke up the next morning and I started eating at 10. And I was like, all right, I made it. And then I was like, I got to do this again tomorrow. I was trying to do it. I was trying to do like every other day. And it was really hard. And I was like, this shouldn't be, excuse me, by the way, this shouldn't be so hard. It shouldn't be. Why is this so hard? Like I just went from, I was already eating at like a 16, it's just 6 more hours. And I went through like a week and a half, 2 weeks of doing this. And then I finally sat down. I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, if I stop eating at 10 at night on a Sunday or whatever day, and then I go 24 hours is 10 the next day. So I wasn't doing 24 hours. I was doing 36 hours because then I was like I was starting at 10, stop eating at 10, 24 hours to 10, and then I would wait until the next day at 10. So I was fasting through the entire day, but I was actually doing 36-hour fast, which was much harder than the 24-hour fast. So I was like, oh, I'm just stupid. So then I watched, and I think I found that out because I was watching the guy again, and he was just like, yeah, I just stop eating at 2 o'clock. And then I start eating at 2 o'clock the next day. And that's 24 hours. So he's like, I eat every day. I just don't eat dinner and breakfast. or the next day I'll eat, so if I stop at 2, I start at 2, and then I'll eat dinner and breakfast the next day, stop at 2, and and go another 24 hours. So it's like switching on and off. And you can also, and if you're like, oh, sometimes I want to have breakfast foods and sometimes I want to have dinner foods, you still get both, right? And I was like, oh, that's so much better. And you're still getting 3 to 4 24-hour fasts, and so it just lowers your weekly caloric intake and whatnot. So that's what I will be doing starting on Monday. As I do all this stuff. But right now I'm just getting my running on, which I got to get going right now at 7:04. I got to get on the road. If you want to listen to me, I did a stereo. I don't know if you guys have stereo, but I do. Yesterday when I was running, I did stereo, and it was very helpful to get my run done. So I'll be on stereo again this morning. And then I'm going to look at all these comments here from Maya Geo. I hope I'm saying that right. Maya Geo, that sounds right. And Renee, thank you so much for being with me this morning. Thank you, TikTok people, for being with this morning. Hopefully you guys have set your goals. Hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll be back here tomorrow because morning matters. All right. See you all in 24 hours.